Hey Vera, good evening. Hello?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry, I'm not on video because I'm trying to eat real quick before it starts.
Oh no, it doesn't matter. Still waiting anyway. I could get some more stuff done.
Okay.
Brother Yemi, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just wanted to be sure my
Right.
is working. Um,
Very well. Yes. Your video too is working.
Yes.
Good.
Femi, how do you say your last name?
oh, that's left for you to decide.
So I should say it, however, is it Oludipe?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay.
And you can make your life simple and just say nature. That will make your life easier.
Okay.
I'm trying to see which one is better. Can't really use my phone because of
My echo, right?
no, because is it echoing?
No, no, no. You probably muted one part.
Um, Nnenna, is your video working?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, is your video working?
Yes, it's working. Just a moment. I was just wrapping up eating. So I'm going to put it on in a moment.
Able to
Hello.
finish link up before you.
Nature's view, nature's waves.
Ah, brother.
Why do you have double screen on?
Because I have double blessing.
Try to show us that you're more of a dealer, a stockbroker, and all of that.
Not really. I'm just trying to look at which of the cameras are better. Because the one that the one I want to use to share, which is the one that says nature, that's the one that has.
Are you sharing your screen?
Huh?
Are you doing a presentation or something?
No, just websites.
Oh, all right. Because I don't have no presentation.
No, I'm gonna be talking mostly about stocks. So I'm just gonna show them real facts and numbers.
Okay. Hey, Yemi, what's up?
How's it going?
Great.
Thank you very much, Laddie, for doing this.
Oh, no, not at all. Thank God. Hey, lady. Sorry, I don't know your name. I see you all the time, but I don't know your name.
Oh, Vera. Hi.
Vera, yeah, that's the name. Vera.
Hi.
Yeah.
Nice
How
to
you
meet
doing?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Keeping safe and healthy. How about you?
Same, just staying prayed up. Doing what we can do.
Good. Hey, Bishop.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
I think that there are a couple of
Is that a picture or that's actually you?
That's my picture. Not
Okay,
live.
because I'm like, you're not moving at all. You just.
Sorry.
Hi, Nnenna.
I'm doing well, sir. How you doing?
Very well, very well, very well. Hey, Yemi, before we get started, so I noticed that the flyer was sent to almost everybody in church. What's up with that?
Yes. Well, it's part of the announcement also in church. I mean, it has to be it has to be broadcast to the whole church. Now we know it's limited. I mean, we directed it to the Gap Church, but other people can still benefit from it, even from the adult church. So we actually welcome everyone to come on board. But
Okay, because
you already know your audience and what you want to focus on majorly.
Right. So I just want to make sure it's beneficial. If the old church will be listening, then it might not be beneficial to everybody, because it's for the Gap Church. In court, it's gonna be like beginners, so to speak.
Right.
Brother Yemi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to send the link to a couple of people, a couple of friends that are outside of HOF.
Okay.
Some of them are Caribbean, and they asked if they could join. So I'm gonna send the link to them right now. So if you see some strange faces, they're from me.
No problem. Okay. I don't know if is Zemeka. Somebody have is what do they call it? I think who is gonna
They didn't give that ability, but I think Nature has to mute one of his too.
Yeah, you might want to, Nature might want to mute one, and I think okay. All right, is the maker on yet? I don't think so.
Which record, the same record?
Semi maker. Because
I think one of mine is mute already. The one that says Nature Waves is not actually broadcasting audio. It's just doing video.
Right, I think it's better now because I can hear my voice echo.
I can hear you now echoing again.
Yeah, I think I'm back echoing again.
It isn't muted on the screen.
Someone is living large on our bed. Hello.
Can everyone just mute their phone if you're not talking?
Mute your phone?
I mean, mute your speakers. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So we'll just let whoever is moderating.
Yeah, yeah. Just one more minute and we'll kick off. Okay, let's get started. Let's start by we're gonna start by a word of prayers, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Father, Lord, we thank you, exalt your name. We give you honor, we adore you for the opportunity that you've bestowed upon us to gather together today to discuss and to speak about what really matters to our lives, what matters to your church, and what matters to the community. Our Lord and our God, we give you honor, we give you adoration, Father. Regarding the current situation of the country and of the nation, we just say, Father, Lord, we thank you because you, Lord, have taken control of it all. We exalt your name, accept our thanks in Jesus' name. Our Father and our God, we're committing today into your hands, and we're committing all the speakers into your hands. Father, Lord, as they speak, let it resonate. Oh Lord, let it begin to germinate great seeds in our lives. Let lives begin to turn around. And for those that will be listening to it, oh Lord, Father, with every Father, open their heart in Jesus' name. Open their mind, Lord, in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
It's still echoes. Nnenna, you want to mute? I can see my voice.
You ready to get started?
No. Let me welcome everyone to this event. But can you mute it for now? Oh, thank you. I want to welcome everyone to this event. This event of the Money Matters is actually brought to you by the HOF Leadership and Empowerment Team. And our vision or our goal is to raise leaders in HOF. And this, we decide to bring this to everyone, and most especially, we actually focus on the Gap Church, but it's not limited to the Gap Church. So, but notwithstanding, we have two great men that they are very very good with money, and these two great men, they actually they're resources that were extracted, that were brought from our church, also from HOF, and we're going to be introducing them to you in a few minutes. I just wanted to let you know that you guys, I know this seminar is definitely going to impact lives, and is actually going to change somebody's situation today, in Jesus' name. I'll let Nnenna introduce them. Wow, mute.
So I'm going to start off by introducing our first speaker. And our first speaker is Femi Oludipe. Femi has a bachelor's in accounting and is an entrepreneur who trades futures, forex, and stocks. And today, Femi will be speaking on the topic financial opportunities in the midst of a pandemic. So here's Femi.
Hi, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes. We have to mute.
Okay, thank you. So thanks for everybody for coming in. I really appreciate everybody. I think we have 20 people in now, and it's just barely 6:08. Today, what we want to look at is we want to see opportunities that we can take from this pandemic. Since this started, since March, I've been looking at what can we do, because a lot of times we know that when things like this happen, a pandemic or a war, it's an opportunity for people to invest, to look for financial opportunities, and to see what they can do differently during this time. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have lost their source of income. And these are opportunities for people to actually see what is thriving during this time, because whatever is thriving now, we thrive when things are good also. So we want to look at things that a high school kid, a college student can actually do during this time, because sometimes we are being introduced to a lot of opportunities, but financially it might be too strenuous on people. And then so I was thinking at the beginning of this at the beginning of March, that how can someone who does not have enough resources, someone who has $100, someone who has $200, a high school kid who does not know what to do right now, a college student who was working at Walmart, who was working at McDonald's and probably lost their job, somebody working an $8 job, don't have it no more. What could they have done or what could they be doing differently right now that can help them in the future. So I started looking at, okay, if you are to start a business, it requires thousands of dollars. It requires a lot of money, a lot of resources. It requires a lot of manpower. How can people invest their little $50 and a little $100? Because a lot of people got stimulus check. And the news that came out yesterday from the CEO of Bank of America is that most of the money that was actually given out to people were saving those money because they were not certain of the future. So the stimulus check was actually meant to be given to people to spend, to stimulate the economy. But people are not spending their money. They're actually saving their money because they are not sure of the future. So the banks are saying that there's a lot of deposits, a lot of bank deposits, a lot of savings that have increased in the last 2 months because people are saving up instead of spending more. So because people don't actually know what to do with their money right now, they don't know where to put it. They think everything is going to collapse. So by the ending of March, I thought about something. I said, okay, there are going to be a couple of companies that are going to survive during this time. There are going to be some investments that were worth thousands of dollars as at the beginning of this year that are now worth probably pennies on the dollar. So I decided to start making research on those investments. That how can a high school kid, a college student, how can a mother of two invest in the lives of their children as of right now? How can you invest now and make sure that your child in the next 10, 20 years is actually settled from pennies, from dollars to $100, $50? So what I did was that I opened up a trading account. What I mean by a trading account, I just like an investment account with Ameritrade. So I just looked at all the companies and I just randomly picked one. So I picked Ameritrade, and then I just opened the account as of, let me start sharing my screen so you see that some of the things I'm saying. And all these things that I did was before this conference was even thought about. So you will see the dates. So you will know that I need whoever has the ability to let me be able to share my screen. Whoever is the host should release the permission so I can share my screen. So I want to share I want to share one or two things that I have done, because a lot of times we want to invest, but we don't have enough money. We don't have enough resources. But I want to tell you that,
Femi, can you claim hosts?
Huh?
Can you claim hosts? And I think the share screen icon is actually at the just right beneath your
no,
screen.
the share screen is there, but it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yeah, open up the participants and claim host. We have 30 participants. Just click on it and claim host.
Yeah, I think it's asking for a digital number or something.
I'm not sure if the church actually gave us that.
Sign into.
Yeah, no, they didn't give a number.
They didn't give us that. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and maybe I might be able to reach out to somebody in church.
Yeah, please. So what I did was that I opened the account and I started looking at all the companies, the stocks, the companies that were existing right now, the companies that are both doing well and those that are not doing well. So what I did was that I looked at stocks that are expensive, and then I looked at, because a lot of times we have stocks that are very good. All the big companies that are doing well right now, their stocks are expensive. We know that they are like $500, $800. Amazon is probably $2,000 for one share. And I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $2,000 to buy an Amazon share. That's not what I wanna do. You know, so I was thinking, a high school student, a college student, how can they invest their little $100, $150, $200? How can a parent invest $250 or $500 in their children right now, that we, in the next 5-10 years from now, will be able to be profitable or make profit from it, because during this time, we're at a low. Everything is cheap right now, and that's including stocks. So I opened up that account and then started looking at, and two things I was looking at was growth, and I was looking at dividend yield. Dividend yield to me was very important. The reason being that right now, we have seen people losing their jobs. And if they have passive income coming in for them, a lot of them would not have been in panic as they are right now. So a lot of times we need to be looking at passive income. We have spent a lot of time working. We have our major source of income mostly has been working, getting a good job and making it. So we have to look at opportunities that can allow us to invest little and be making profit out of those little investments. So I opened up that account, and then I just put $260 in it for a start. I just had some random money sitting down in the bank, and I decided that, okay, this money is sitting down in the bank, not doing anything. It's not going to give me any profit. At the end of a year, they're probably going to put 10 cents on it and ask me to say thank you for giving me 10 cents on whatever amount I have. So I took out the $260 and I decided to put it in the market, in the stock market. And two things I was looking for a cheap stock that was paying good dividend. Because to me, at this point, a lot of stocks that are paying good dividend before, their stocks are now cheaper, which is an opportunity for people to actually invest. A lot of stocks that are paying good dividend, great dividend, have cheaper stocks right now. So if you're investing, you shouldn't just be investing. So you should be looking at opportunities that actually are companies who are once doing great, they are still doing good, and they are going to get better. But right now they are at a low and they're going to get better. So at this point, investments that are going to cost you $5,000 will now cost you $500. Are you guys getting my point? Investment.
Yes. Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt, but I put the host code in your private messages.
Okay. Okay. Let me. Okay. So I want to show people, I want to show you guys what I did in the last 1 month, 1 to 2 months. Because as I said, we can't just watch as this pandemic goes and not have anything to show for it. 518. Okay. Can you all see my screen? I just need one person to respond.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
So as of April, by the end of March, as of April, I decided to open a new account. And if you look here, just look at the cursor on my mouse. This is the exact time I put the first amount of money in the account. April 27th at 6 p.m. around this exact time. And then I put $260 in the account. Then I started watching a couple of stocks. Then by May 13th, I bought a stock. I bought 100 shares, and I only paid $150. Now, these shares that I paid $150 for, few months back or a year ago, you probably will be paying $500 to $800 to buy the same amount of shares. I just paid $150 for it. Then I saw another shares that I was interested in that same day. And because that day the market dropped, it dropped significantly. So a lot of stocks that I have been looking at dropped at the same time. So I was able to buy it at the price that I wanted to buy it at. And my goal was to open an account and be able to buy at least a minimum of 100 shares, to spend less than $200 to buy 100 shares in a good company, in a company that pays good dividends. So I was able to get into these companies same day at 10 o'clock. I was able to get into to another company, and I spent just $125 to buy 100 shares of that company. So that cost me $275. In the account, I only put, this is the amount I put $260, and I added $25 later. The day I wanted to invest the money, I just added $25, so I have enough to cover those costs. So I spent $275 on 200 shares of these companies. Now, one of these companies, as of a year ago, was going for $8 per one. If I wanted to invest a year ago in one of these shares, it would have cost me around $800. I just paid $150 in there. So fast forward to today, I was able to, looking at the account, let me let this load up. Fast forward to today, and that's just two. My goal was to get at least a minimum of 10 of these companies that I'm going to invest in, spending less than $100, $150, just, change money that we use for random stuff, money that we can just spend a day and not even think about it. That's what I wanted to invest. The goal is that I wanted us to be able to use our little change, our little $50, our little $100 to actually invest in something tangible. We have companies that are doing well. So let's look at this company. Now, this is the two companies that I invested in. Just follow my mouse. This is their name. I bought 100 shares of each. As of today, the cost of both of them was $275. One is $125, one is $150. The market value of the first one is $118. It dropped. So I'm losing $7, not a big deal. The second one, and the reason why this is dropping is because they're about to pay dividend. This company pays dividend. I'm going to show you their dividend very soon, because that's where I'm actually going to. The second one, I bought it for $150, now cost $179. I've made $29 profit from that. Now, if you put $150 in your bank account, there's no way you're going to gain $29. I bought this maybe 2 weeks ago, $29 profit already. That's 19% profit from just $150. That is just profit from the stock now, and that is in 2 weeks. So my profit went from, I went from 275 to 297 from just two stocks. Now, the first one, which is CEN, let me see. This is what they pay monthly in dividend. Since 2015, they have been paying consistently 10 cents per share. This is from 2000. This is January 2015, as you can see. They have more than that. They have been paying more than that, but this is from January 2015. And paying consistent cents per share, 10 cents per share, up to, this is 2019. The only time they dropped was in April, which was because of the pandemic. And they paid 3 cents. And they are still planning on going back to 10 cents per share. So imagine if they continue to pay 10 cents per share and I have 100 shares with them, every month, my $125, which I invested with them, will be yielding me $10 in profits every single month. So at the end of a year, we have 12 months in a year. If I earn 10 cents, $10 a month, that's $120. I invested $125 with them. So apart from the fact that the stock has a chance of going up, because this stock is worth $8. It was worth $8 before. So apart from the fact that the stock might go back up and I'm going to make profits, this is going to be profitable. At the end of 1 year or a year and a half, I'll be able to recoup 100% of my profit just from their dividend alone. So imagine I just invested $125. Imagine if you invest $1,250. Just multiply whatever I invested by 100, which gives you, that will give you $100 a month from investing $1,250. Imagine if you invested $10,000 in this company, you might end up getting $800 to $900 a month from just that one company. Now imagine if you are able to invest in 5, 6, 7 companies of that same kind, and they are paying consistent dividend month in, month out. You're able to get dividends from them, and they are paying you consistently every month. This company pays dividend every month, and they are consistent, never miss a month. Now, the reason why they are so good is May, and they are about to pay May dividend. So every time a company wants to pay dividend, they drop their stock because they don't want people to just buy, get dividend, and get out. So they drop their stock, make it less attractive so that people won't just come in just to get dividend and get out. So they make it less attractive, so they drop the stock and then pay dividend, and then the stock goes back. The stock recovers back. That happens a lot in the stock market. So that is one of the reasons why their stock might have dropped, but they are consistently paying. So for an high school student, if you have, imagine you have a savings account and then you put $125 in that account, and after a month you check that account and it's gone to $135. The next month it's gone to $145. So that is how you can take advantage of a pandemic like this and see opportunities and things that are very, very profitable that can actually hand you residual income, passive income at a very, very cheap price. My goal here is not to invest in big companies, in the Amazons and the Apples and the Walmarts of today. My goal is to look for companies that are doing great before and their stock dropped because of the pandemic and are paying good dividend. That's the first one. Now the second one. Now let's go to the second one. The second one that I invested in, the MFA, that I paid $150 for already. The price continues to change because you see it was $29 before, it's $30 now because of aftermarket. The market is still going up and down, so anything here is still subject to change. So from my $150, the market value is now $180. So $30 profit, 20% gain in 2 weeks. So let me show you the dividend for them. Now this company is known to pay 20 cents per share every quarter. They pay quarterly. So they pay 20 cents every quarter, which means that if you buy 100 shares, you get paid $20 every 3 months. If you invest 1,000 shares, you get paid $200 every 3 months. $200 every 3 months for those who a single person who pays a phone bill, that can pay your phone bill every month. So, and they have been paying since 2013. That's how far back they have been paying consistently. As you can see, you can see the consistent 20 cent, 20 cent, 20 cent. Consistently, they have been paying this dividend quarterly to people. This is how somebody was going to come to this and buy share 10,000 worth of shares and be getting paid $2,000 every 3 months. For somebody that invests thousands of dollars in these companies, might be getting paid $200,000, $2,000 every 3 months. These are companies, the company's share was around $8 before. Now we're getting it, I was able to buy it for $1.50. So what is supposed to cost me around $800 to $1,000 is now costing me $150 to get into. These are opportunities that a pandemic can let you have. As I said, my reason for buying these shares is not because of me. I'm not buying these shares. My goal was to buy at least 10 of these kind of shares, 100 shares each. I'll buy 10 of them. So that will be 1,000 shares in 10 companies, and I'll be getting their dividends. Plus, I'll be watching their growth because I still have a list of companies that I'm looking at. Let me show you. I still have a whole bunch of lists. These are all lists of companies. See, detailed analysis on all monthly dividend stocks. These are all still, I have 42 that I'm still analyzing, that I'm still looking at. And my goal is just to get 10 out of them, paying good dividend at a very cheap price that I can spend less than $200 on. I continue to get dividend from each of them and continue to watch their growth. Because at this point, as I said, your little money is very, very valuable right now. Your $100 to worth more right now than it was a year ago. Your $200 is worth more right now than it's worth a year ago. So I want people to look at these things, look at these opportunities in the stock market, and try to get into this market as soon as you can. You know, one of the markets I was looking at today was another one. I mean, this one is on the high end. It's even $10. $10 is cheap when it comes to stock market. $10 is cheap. It's way cheap. You know, we have stocks that are worth $500, $1,000. This one I was looking at, this one pays good dividend also. It used to be way high in the past. It used to be very expensive in the past. And as of today, they are worth pennies on the dollar. So, I have several of them that I'm looking at. I have a lot of them that were once good, were once great, but are now good that I'm looking at. And you know, you look at this, you build your portfolio. Now, my goal is to, once I'm done investing in this, I'm leave it alone. This is supposed to be a gift for my first son when I eventually have a baby. So my goal is to invest in it and leave it alone for the next 18 years. And
hold on, Brad Femi. Please, can you mute your phone if you're not speaking, please, so we all can hear. Thank you. Thank you. Brad Femi, can continue now.
Okay. So
thank you.
My goal is to look at least 10 of these, invest in them at this time. I'm probably going to spend $1,000 investing in maybe 10 companies, maybe 1,500 in investing in at least 10 companies, and I'll be buying at least a minimum of 100 shares. I'm not buying 1 share. I'm not buying 10 shares. I'm not buying 20 shares. I'm talking about 100 shares. 100 shares in a company. For you to buy 100 shares in Amazon, I kid you not, with the current price, for you to buy 100 shares in Amazon, you're probably going to spend $200,000 just to buy 100 shares in Amazon. Other companies that are costing $500, if you want to buy 100 shares, you might probably spending $50,000 in some companies just to buy 100 shares. And some of them don't have dividends. Some of them are paying exactly the same dividend as what some of these that are costing $150, $200 are costing. You know, as I said, there are several of them right now that are paying this kind of dividends. They have growth. They will grow back to what they used to be in the past. So you'll be making money on 2 ways. One, you'll be making money from the growth of the stock that is now pennies on the dollar. Second of all, you'll be making money. You'll be making money on the dividends that they will be paying you monthly, quarterly. If you're looking for opportunity to supplement your income or to look for passive income that will replace your income as a person. I'm not even an investor. I'm not a full-time investor, I would say. I'm a trader. I trade, let me show you what the market looks like on my chart right now, so you know where we're at and where we're going. So you know that it is very important for you to get in as soon as possible. So this is my current chart right now. This is the entire stock market right now. So as of March, just follow my mouse, my cursor. As of March, this is where we started in March. This green line right here, let me expand this. This green line right here is what we started in March. This is when they have not announced that people should start staying at home. We're just hearing about the coronavirus. And then we started hearing about the coronavirus and these are daily charts. So suddenly we were told to stay at home and this started happening. And then we started seeing all these big red candles, drops in the market. So the market started dropping from around here, up here, and dropped all the way down here. Now the market is trying to recover back. If you see from here till today, the market has made significant. Let me squeeze it back so you can see the entire chart. So right now, look, this is where the market dropped from. Right here, this is where the market is at right now. So imagine those who have invested when the market was around here. Imagine what their profit will be right now. Now imagine what the profit will be when it goes back to where it used to be around here. So the market is making some recovery, and we should pay attention to that because, as I said, this is how some people will go from having nothing to having a lot of money. Now, my goal is, I'm a trader, so most of the time I trade these markets. And see, even the crude oil has started, gas was going down before, gas prices are going down before, they have started going back, they will start going back up. I'm saying, look, you see this uptrend here? This is gas prices that will start going back up very, very soon. This is futures. So this is not gas prices as of today. This is the future. This is telling you about what is going to happen tomorrow, next tomorrow in gas prices. So prices are going to go back up to where it used to be. So this is showing you that the stock market has dropped way significantly at a point whereby you can get in at a very cheap price. And that is what I'm seeing in some of the numbers that I'm seeing. So if you have few $100 in your account right now sitting there doing nothing, there is an opportunity for you to actually look at this opportunity. If you lose $100 today, you're not going to pass out. If you lose $150, it's not the worst thing that's happened to you. I mean, we bought phones. Most of us are using phones that are worth $500, $800, and we break it and we buy another one. So if you can invest, even if it's not for you, it's for your futures, your child in the future in the next 5-10 years. Here's an opportunity for you to invest $100, $50, $20, $200, and you are going to see the growth because companies will pay you dividends. The growth is going to come back. If you cannot invest, and I used to tell people, the people ask me, what if I want to invest in a company like Amazon? And if you want to invest in an Amazon and you don't have money to invest in Amazon, what you can do is that there are companies that do business with Amazon. For example, Amazon owns warehouses all over the place, and they have staffs working for them. Now, these staffs have to use some disposable equipment like gloves, I don't know, whatever they can be using during their daily operations, disposable whatever they are using just to work in the warehouses. Now, there are companies that supply them. Amazon does not produce anything. So there are companies that supply these warehouses with the things they need to use for daily operations. If you cannot invest in Amazon, you can invest in those companies. As long as Amazon stays in business, those companies will stay in business. And that is what I look at. I don't invest in the big companies. I invest in the companies that those big companies do business with. So I look at, okay, Amazon does business, used to do business with UPS and FedEx. So if I can invest in the $2,000 worth of Amazon stock, how about I look at UPS that is a little cheaper? How about I look at the delivery services that Amazon uses? That might be a cheaper stock for me to buy. So as long as Amazon continues to do business with them, they will stay in business and they will make profits. So as Amazon continues to make profit, it triggers down to them. So because a lot of times where people are looking at companies to invest in and they don't have the money. But one thing I've discovered is that no company is on its own. Every company does business with another company. And it is not all companies that have expensive stocks. So some of the companies that big companies do business with, they don't have expensive stocks because they are not name brands. They are not big names. Coca-Cola is a big name, but Coca-Cola does not produce every single thing it uses. There are some of the things that the employees that work at Coca-Cola uses that Coca-Cola have to order every single day from another company. That company might be traded in the stock market. You might not need to invest in Coca-Cola as the big company, but as long as Coca-Cola stays in business, that other company will continue to grow. Why? Because Coca-Cola will be spending some of its expenses on that company. So sometimes looking at the expense report of a company allows you to know where they are putting their money is. Wherever Coca-Cola is spending millions into, I want to invest in that company because I know as long as Coca-Cola continues to spend millions in that company, I'm in business. So sometimes we don't have to look at the big picture or the biggest companies around, but we want to see. A lot of people cannot invest in Warren Buffett's company, because that stock is probably worth $100,000 or something. I don't even look at it anymore. For you to invest in Warren Buffett's company, you have to have maybe $150,000 just to buy one share, you know, because that's the most expensive stock. But the goal is, I might not want to invest in his company like that, but I want to see what company does he do business with. As long as he remains in business, all those other small companies that he is doing business with will continue to be in business, and they will continue to pay dividends. So we need to start paying attention to little companies that are doing well because of big companies. As long as those big companies stays in business, they continue to trigger down on those little companies. And that is where opportunities lie sometimes. That is where we can see opportunities, because as I said, not all of us have the tens of thousands of dollars to start a business. A lot of people want to invest in, I'm going to be done in the next 5 minutes. A lot of people want to invest in real estate, for example. And they are like, I don't have enough money to buy a property. I don't have enough money to invest in a house. I don't have enough money to buy Airbnb. So I tell them, I said, yes, you don't have enough money, but we have companies that are investing. I saw a company recently that all they do is they build malls all around the US. They invest in anything commercial real estate. They just build malls and collect rent from them. They have a stock. So every time they collect rent, they pay their stockholders, because the way they file their taxes, they have to declare, all the money that comes in, they have to give it out to shareholders. So every single month, once they collect rent from all the stores in the mall, they pay their shareholders. So as long as people are going to the mall to buy stuff and those people are paying rent, that is an indirect way for you to invest in real estate. So you don't actually have to own properties, but you can invest in companies that actually build those properties. They pay you dividends every month. So one way or the other, you're a real estate investor. So those are things that I want people to look at, you know, talk to professionals that know how to invest in these things. Right now, as I said, you can start a very good portfolio with pennies on the dollars. And that is what is most important. $100 right now is worth $1,000 a year ago. So that $50 you're about to spend randomly, that $100 you're about to just go buy some random shoe, you should know that a year ago, that $100 can buy as a stronger buying power right now. And that is the point I want to emphasize. The $100, the $200 you have in your account right now has a stronger buying power, has a stronger value right now than it was a year ago. It has a stronger value because leaving that money in your account, what companies are doing, what banks are doing is that they will invest that money and pay you 10 cents. When you can invest that money yourself and make $10. So it's up to you to either leave that money in your account and be making 10 cents, or you invest it and make $10 a month or more, and then the stock grows again, and then you make more out of that. So I want everybody to look at opportunities. I have several financial opportunities that we can talk about, but I just decided to pick the stock as one of them, as a great opportunity, because it's something that everybody has access to. You know somebody, you know somebody that knows something about stocks. If you need more information, there are professionals around. You can shoot me any questions. You can look, even if you have no idea of the stock market, just there are people around you that knows a lot about it that can help you get yourself started. You know, you might have a very great stock portfolio already. Start a new one with a little money, because the chances are the portfolio you have right now, you probably spent more money on it than what you would spend right now on a new portfolio, because a stock that you bought $1,000 a year ago is now worth $100. So now you're spending maybe 90% less of what you have spent on your bigger portfolio. So it's bet you can start a smaller portfolio right now that will be costing you the exact amount of money you spent on a bigger portfolio a year ago. So I want people to look at that, think about it. Even if you have a portfolio for yourself, think about your children, think about the future, think about 10 years from now. The money you start, I'm telling you, I did this. I don't have a child yet, but I'm doing this for my future first child. At the age of 18, I'm going to present these stocks to her. It's probably going to be enough to get him a down payment on a house 18 years from now? Who knows? You know, so that is one of the reasons I'm looking at this, and that's one of the reasons why you have to take opportunities of this pandemic to invest in the lives of people around, in yourself, and in the lives of people around you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bro Femi. I have learned so much. In fact, I think I'm gonna start something. I'm gonna start something regarding shares also very soon. And the good news is, Bro Femi is actually in HOF, is in our church, and you can always grab him on the walkway anytime he walks past and ask him more questions. But in the time being, for the purpose of this event, we have advised that if you have any question, because we're going to be jumping into for the second speaker for the purpose of this event, if you have any question, just drop your questions on the chat room, and after the second speaker, we will be throwing out your questions, and we'll be asking the speakers that actually relate to. At this point, we're going to be introducing our second speaker, and I'm going to be handing over to Nnenna.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everyone. Our next speaker is Ladi Oluwole. Ladi has a bachelor's in economics from Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria and a master's in economics from California State University. He joined Citibank Consumer Banking in 2006 as a client financial analyst and was ranked #1 in the Dallas-Fort Worth region and ranked #2 in the state of Texas. He's currently employed by JP Morgan Chase as a senior credit officer in the Corporate and Investment Bank Credit Risk Management Group, where he underwrites and manages large corporate investment grade asset portfolios. His accomplishments at JP Morgan Chase include being ranked #1 in the last 2 financial years as a senior credit underwriter. Here's Ladi Oluwole.
You can unmute now.
Hello, good evening, everyone. How you all doing?
Great.
Great. Good. Can you, hello? Yes. All right, I'll just make this real quick. Yemi, please, how many minutes do I have?
You have like, right now your clock is ticking now. You have like about 31 more minutes.
31 more minutes. Okay, all right, I'll make it within the time. All right, I'll just start from where my dearest brother stopped. First, I'll just start with the parable of the talents. That's about the easiest way to start this presentation, whereby we have funds and we have money on our side and we can't just leave it idle. The least we can do is to put the money in the bank and get the least amount of interest if we decide not to do any form of investment. Well, and the first thing we should know is everyone is different. So we should know our risk appetite for each individual. What that simply means is how much risk as an individual are you able to take? There are different forms of risk that one can get themselves involved in. One is just, like I said, it's just to put the money in the bank and get some form of interest return on it. The second other risk you can get is to invest in stocks, which we've learned a lot from tonight, this evening. The other could also be to invest in real estate. The other is also to just do general businesses or trade. When I say trade, as in general trading, buying and selling, not in terms of stocks now. So first of all, you have to know yourself how much risk you are able to take. The kind of business or the kind of returns you want to get really doesn't matter. While some people will decide that, I want to get my returns in real estate. If they lose money in real estate, they're still very much comfortable with themselves. It's not going to hurt them. While some people will decide that they want to go into the stock market. First of all, know the risk appetite you can take. If you make a loss in something you like, it definitely would not hurt you that much compared to if you go and invest in something in other people's business. When I say other people's business, your neighbor likes stocks, but you like real estate. Please stick to your real estate and be happy with your real estate. If you lose money in real estate, you're happy rather than going into another person's business. So I'll just start. I haven't said that. I'll start by saying, once most of us are salary earners. We earn our money on a monthly basis or by monthly income. The first thing we do when most of us get our income, the two things we look at, looking at my audience here. The first thing, first two expenses we look at are two things. One is your mortgage or your rent. The second thing you also want to put your money into is your tithe. So once those two are in place, what else is most important to you? I believe most people can live with any other thing once those two things are out. Once your mortgage is paid, you're very much comfortable with all your any other expenses you can do without. Your mortgages and your tithe, you can basically do with any other expenses. No other expense is so much important as those two. So the first thing I would advise anybody here will be, do we all have like an Excel sheet where we look at our income monthly and our expenses? You find out that by the time you look at your income and your expenses, you find out that sometimes you have very much loose money that you really don't know what to do with it. Or there's some things you can do without. How many of us here have actually done a budget this month and next month you've actually gone to rebudget your budget? Is someone listening here? Hello?
Hello? Okay.
Yeah. I say, how many people here have actually done a budget and then gone back to rebudget their budget?
I never started.
Was that you always do that?
Yeah.
And that's because your expenses are most likely you can do without some certain things. And that's why you go back and rebudget your budget. So first thing, we as individuals have to know that there's a lot of things we can do without. So we have to track our expenses. And the easiest way to track our expenses is not just to know our expenses, but actually to have it written down in one form or the other, whether it's on your computer or your laptop or just a piece of paper. Once you are able to look at your expenses, you're able to make better judgments about them. Okay, so once we get our income, there are four things. I'll give you a life example of myself. There was a time I was with Citibank, and during the last depression, and I basically, my job function was moved to New York, and I decided not to go to New York, and I just bought a house then in Arlington. So I was out of job for almost 7 months because I decided not to move to New York. And, hello? And the only way I could live on for 7 months was because I had
sorry, Laddie. Please, can you mute your speaker? Brafemi, you have the control. Can you just pass it over to me, please? Go ahead, Laddie. I'm gonna start muting people, Rani.
Yeah. So once we get our income, our salary, first thing, like I said, is after knowing your expenses, while knowing your expenses, you have to put a budget in place. You can definitely not do well with your income or money without having a budget. There's definitely no way you're gonna do very well. You must have your expenses written down one way or the other. Once that put in place, the other thing is there's need for savings. Savings in various ways. You can save even by just your 401k. That's a form of savings. Some people cannot save and have money in their account, but money that they don't, income that they don't receive from their employer, they can do without it. So say, for example, you earn $1,000 a month or per paycheck. You can decide that the only way you're not going to spend everything is by you saying you're going to put $100 to your 401k every month, every pay period. So by putting $100 by itself to your 401k is a form of savings. Other form of savings, which for people that are married and have family, is having an insurance policy. Most companies have insurance policies for their employers. It could probably cost you $35 per pay period for probably a $500,000 insurance policy for your family. So imagine if anything happens to you, your family can at least have $500,000 by you just putting aside $35 a month. And that's a form of savings. The other form of savings we can also think of as, as beginners or fresh graduates or, whatever stage you are in life, is also an IRA. An IRA is an individual retirement account. You can also decide that you're going to be putting $50 aside every month. You don't have to be actively involved in the monitoring of the account. Yes, while stocks, shares are very good, like I said in the beginning, you must know your risk appetite. While the shares and stocks are very good, if you decide to trade yourself, that you will probably need an investment advisor to help you out or someone with expertise. But with an IRA account, individual retirement account, all you need is to give an investment advisor an authorization to debit your account with probably $50 per pay period and let them help you in investing your account. Your money. And then you can also decide, with the guidance of your investment advisor, what industry to trade in. Like Femi said earlier, one of the stocks it showed was in the energy sector. Every company or every individual, every household will always need electricity or gas. So that's a good sector to invest in because that's almost a very stable industry. Every household, every business, will always need electricity or gas. So their product has very strong demand at any point in time. The other thing I'd like to talk about is tracking our expenses. How do we track our expenses? Various ways we can track our expenses is, again, having something well written down. Or setting aside money with a group of trusted friends, whereby you all agree that, every month we're setting aside this money, either just for the sake of savings or to meet a particular future project. That also helps you to save, and it also helps to cultivate the habit of savings. So one more thing I'll talk about is how do we build our credit, or how do we invest in this in this economic downturn. One of the ways we can invest in this economic downturn, there are always 3 or 4 major ways to invest, like I said in the beginning. Interest rates are very low right now. If we decide to buy, I'll give a live example of myself. There's a property I used to have, or I have, that was, as at February, I was paying like 5% interest rate, and I had 21 years left on that mortgage. And my payment was about $1,600. Now interest rates are down. I have an interest rate from 5% to 2.9%. And then I've gone from 20 years left on that mortgage to 15 years left on that mortgage. So I've saved 5 years. And my monthly payment has only gone up by about $46. So if I'm saving, if I increase my spending or my expense or my mortgage payment by $46, and I'm able to save 5 years of mortgage payment, I think that's a good investment. Interest rates have gone down. This is a time for people to refinance, even though to make a purchase right now, it might be harder because most banks believe job security is very tight. So you need a better credit score. And for you to have a better credit score, you must have built your credit over a period of time. But at the same time, you have a lower interest rate. So if you have very good credit right now, even for beginners, you can invest in condos. You can invest in 2-3 bedroom houses at a very low interest rate, over 15 years, 20 years. Or you can even start with 30 years. As your income increases over the years, you can refinance your assets. It's very important for us to build, and another thing I'd like to say at this point is, it's very important for us all to build very good relationships. And the reason I say that is you will get the best of advice from relationship that you built or that you're building. And in that process, you can all come together, or even if you decide to do it on your own, but at least you've learned of an idea that you can research on personally and develop it from there. This is a time to refinance any form of assets you have. Interest rates are down. Like I said earlier, any form of asset at all. Your cars, you can refinance at this time. Your houses, you can make purchases, you can refinance them at this time. Even your credit cards, at this time is a time to do balance transfers. Now, I'd like to talk about credit cards a little bit. Now, people talk about credit cards like that's the best way to build your credit. Yes, but the best way to build your credit is not just to use the credit card and pay it down. You must use the credit card. At times, you will have to max out your credit card. When I say max out, if you have a limit of, say, $5,000, you could probably use up to $3,000. By the time your creditor sees that you're about to max your credit, you're going high to the limit. The chances are very high that they're going to give you a higher limit. And the more higher limit you have on your credit card, the higher the credit score goes, because it shows your ability to use credit. So if you say you don't want to have any credit card, say for example, you just want to stick with a $500 credit card, the chances are that your credit score is going to be very low because creditors are looking at your credit limit and they're saying because you don't have high credit limit, the chances are that you're not able to utilize or you're not a good credit-worthy entity to deal with. So I'll advise sometimes that we can use our credits in the store, have the funds set aside at the end of the month, pay off the credit card. And then sometimes you have to let the limits or the debt sit for a little while on that credit card, but then pay it down. Sometimes you pay your credit card down, sometimes you pay it off. Okay, and the difference between the paying down a credit card or paying down any outstanding limit and paying it off is just paying down just means you're reducing your outstanding balance. While paying it off means you're taking it down completely to zero. So that's a simple way to help build your credit. Another thing I'd like to talk about is student loans and car loans. Now, for most people that have credit issues, this is also the time to talk to your creditors about it. Everybody is aware that the economy is bad. Creditors and bankers are very lenient at this time. So this is also a time to talk to your bankers. They're also at this point, they're actually giving, forbearances and all that on various loans. So if you know you can't meet up with various payments for whatever reason, please, this is the time to talk to your bankers. They can also help you restructure your loan and also give you some either principal deferment, maybe interest payment only or no payment and interest for about 3 months, 6 months, the various structures that are out there right now. Another option in terms of trying to get loans will be everybody who tries to deal with the big banks, but it's also very advisable to deal with your credit unions and community banks. Community banks and credit unions and smaller banks sometimes are more lenient in giving credit, and they try to build a relationship with you better, sometimes better than the big banks. And then once you establish your credit, you can decide to move to bigger banks for various reasons, such as, the branch network, or just for various reasons you might think you might need any other bank for. And right now, most people don't really care about the branch networking anymore because the internet is there for you to do anything you want to do. If you want to transfer funds, if you can do everything right now on the internet. So talking about student loans, I discussed this with Yemi earlier. I might not be the best person to talk about student loans. And the reason why I say that is I don't have a student loan, but from my past relationship with clients and all of that, student loans are one of the major loans holding most people back. So most people have an average of about $50,000 student loans out there. Even though you pay them at very little little amount over a period of time. But in time, there's so many financial institutions out there right now that do student loans, and there's a lot of competition among them. So in order for you to reduce or have better structure, you might want a lot of internet student loan institutions out there right now. You really don't need to see anybody. All you need to do is just put in your information on the internet, give a call to somebody, but be careful when you're giving your information, not just to anybody. You must have established a relationship with the institution. You must have done your background check on the institution. And then, try to restructure and talk about the best way which you can get off your student loan. Because I know most parents and even most young people, student loan is one of the things that, I even sometimes I deal with very large, very, very high net worth individuals. And you see the amount of student loans they have. Sometimes I'm shocked. Sometimes they're just more than mortgages. Some people have student loans that are way more than a mortgage. And you wonder how they're going to pay that off. At the end of the day, what some people do is to roll their student loan into their mortgage, for various reasons. So right now, like I said, is the best time for anybody to talk to their financial institution about restructuring their any form of personal assets they want to get out of. So for the high school, for these college students or those that are just recently out of college and are currently working, do we have anybody right now on the call? You can unmute yourself, please.
What was the question, sir?
Any recent graduate or less than 5 years out of school that want to just talk about maybe their student loan issue, or have any question on student loan? All right, I guess. Hello?
Oh, hi. Yeah, so I graduated recently, but I'm going to be going back into school, and I had to take out a loan for graduate school. I didn't really have to take out any for undergrad, but my goal is to be a medical doctor, so I'm hoping that I'm able to pay my loans off with like the benefits of the financial benefits of being a doctor.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I missed the last part of the question or the statement.
Oh yes, so yeah, I'm hoping to pay off my loans with the financial benefits of being a doctor. I guess I was wondering, what are your thoughts, I guess, on the right way to go about that?
All right. The first thing first is like you said, you want to go back to school. What's going to be the value to be a medical doctor? Obviously, we all know the value added being a medical doctor, and the job readiness market for that. So in terms of job market, that shouldn't be an issue. The first thing that I'll talk to you about is stick with your ambition regardless of the cost. Regardless of the cost, stick with whatever you've made up your mind to do. Now you can deal with the cost, although you have to think of the cost as of today, but do not let the cost go ahead of your ambition. Because regardless of whatever you decide to do, there's always a cost to it. And what you should always think of is, if you don't do it today, where would you be in another year? Probably on the same spot. So you might as well just go ahead and do what you need to do. And then deal with the cost along the line. Because the joy of it all is if you achieve what you decided to do or your ambition, you're excited, or paying back the loan wouldn't hurt you as much because you've achieved your goal. And compared to if you decide that, okay, because you're thinking of the cost of being a medical student, and then you decide to go and be maybe a technician somewhere, it's still going to cost you money to be a technician somewhere. And then while you're paying back the loan as a technician, it's really going to be hurting you because you don't really want to be a technician and you're still paying back money on what you don't like. Compared to if you're a medical doctor and you're happy with yourself, with what you've achieved, and then you're paying back money on what you really like. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so stick with your ambition, go for what you want, deal with the cost along the line. But also know this, and this is an advice which I've learned over the years. You can decide to go to, for medical profession, people say, you know, you don't necessarily have to go to the best of the best to be, you know, but at the same time, you don't have to go to the worst of the worst. And there's really no worst of the worst, so to speak, for the medical line. You know, it's your expertise that matters compared to if you decide to go to a business school. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. You said one thing earlier. You said people add their loans to their mortgages. What did you mean by that?
Okay, so for various reasons, an individual can come to a financial analyst or to a loan officer, a credit officer, and say, you know what? Okay, so I have a mortgage. I want to refinance my mortgage. I have a car loan. I have a car note. I want to refinance my car note. I have a student loan. I want to refinance my student loan. I have a personal loan. I want to refinance my personal loan. And they can say, you know what, instead of having too many loans out there, you know, that I have to pay in 5 different places, why don't you just roll all these loans into one loan so I make one single payment with a lower interest rate? So once, does that make sense? So you roll all your loans, say, because you don't want to be paying a car note, you want to know that your car is owned free and clear. You want to know that, okay, the only loan I have in this world is just the mortgage loan. My credit card, I want to roll everything up into my refinancing my house. So especially if you have enough loan to value assets in your house, you can roll all your loans and make it into one single loan. If you have enough value, enough appraisal value in your house, roll everything up, refinance your house into a single loan.
I see. And I have one more question. So with the amount of debt I'm projected to have when I'm done with school, how difficult would it be for me to, like, let's say, own something and begin, you know, buying, like, building my assets with, like, the amount of loans that I'm going to have? Okay. And, like, what should I be doing now to, you know.
What you should be doing now is first, focus more on your studies. Secondly, try and build a good credit along the line. So you have small credit card loan, you know, you want to make sure you're paying your credit card as you go along the line. Once you get out of school and you start earning income and you want to get into buying assets, now the first thing for you, if you want to buy any asset, is you're going to look at your loan to income ratio. What that simply means is how much do you earn today? How much loans do you have out there? You know, so if your loan to income ratio or your loan to income ratio is low, that means that, for example, you earn $100,000 and you, after calculating all your expenses, you still have the ability to service a loan of, you know, $500, then that's fine. The most cases, the creditor or the banks will give you a loan. So at the end of the day, like I said earlier, what matters is how much you earn, how much loan you have out there. Student loans, and the advantage of student loan is that student loans are not generally factored like every other loan into your loan payment, into your outstanding loans. So student loans and medical bills are not necessarily factored because in most cases the payments are very negligible, even though they're over a long period of time.
Okay.
So your outstanding loan should not bother you at all at this time, especially if what you should project is the cost of going to school. What's the expected income at the end of the day if you're increasing your loan? So for someone, you know, going back to school, say today, let's say they earn $35,000, right? Example, they earn $35,000. They're going back to school and the student loan is $50,000 to go back to school for 2 years. And after coming out of school, their salary is just going to go up for $5,000, but they have a $50,000 outstanding loan. That's not a good program to go into for $50,000 over 2 years when your salary is just going to go up for $5,000. That's not a good investment because you're going to have $50,000 outstanding loan and your income is going to go up by $5,000. Inflation will have caught up with your income in 2 years or $5,000. So that's necessarily not a good investment.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I think I'm within time, right?
Absolutely, you are.
And thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Laddie. At this time, we'll be taking questions, and I think some people had posted a question on the chat, and this question apparently I think is for Brad Femi. The first one states, what is considered to be a good dividend and why is that important? Brad Femi, you can unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, a good dividend to me has to go in relation to how much you actually invested in the how much you actually invested in the company. All I look at percentage of investment. So for me now, the two companies that I showed that I invested in, what I was looking at them was the price they were selling for as of a year ago and what they were selling for right now. So I discovered that the dividends they are paying right now was based on the price the stock was selling for a year, which would have made the dividend yield to be lower than what it was right now, if you understand what I mean. So a stock that was set that was $8-10 before and was paying a particular dividend, when that stock drops, when that particular stock drops lower, immediately what happens is that the dividend yield percentage will increase. What that means is that the yield per the price will increase because the price has dropped from what it used to be. The price, some of the dividends that are being paid right now are based on the price being 10 times, 15, 20 times higher than what it was right now. So to me, you can't go, if you look at great companies, they're not paying more than 5%, 2%, 3% on dividend yield. So if you invest $1,000, $5,000 in some companies, hardly will you be able to get $2 or $5 out in dividends. So that is why dividend was not attractive to a lot of people, because big companies pay dividends, but the percentage is very low compared to how much you invested in them. So let's say you invested $5,000 in a company now, and they are paying you $20 in dividends. And they are paying him the same $20. Whoever invested $5,000 is getting the last month. The person who invested $200. So the dividend yield for the person who invested $200 is way higher and better than somebody who invested $5,000. The only difference is that the person who invested $5,000 in a better company, but at the end of the day, they are both getting the same returns back. And my goal is that how can I reduce my investment and still get maximum profit out of it? I don't want to be the guy that invested $5,000. How about I'll be the guy that invested $200 and get $20 back, because $20 out of $200, that is 10%. Invested $5, that might be 1% or 2% yield for that person. So to me, the amount you invested with the amount you get back, I want a situation whereby even if the stock does not even grow at all, within a year or two, I'm able to get back the money I invested in that company just through dividend alone. That is what I call a good dividend.
All right. Thank you, Brafemi. And I think we have someone that has a question that actually raised up his hand. And Ilo, can you, I think you're already on mute anyway, so can you ask your question?
Okay. Okay, this is for anyone who wants to answer, but I just wanted to know if there was a disadvantage of having multiple brokerage accounts. So for instance, let's say you have a Roth IRA with Vanguard and then your 401ks with Fidelity, and maybe you have Robinhood where you like buy your individual stocks. My first question is that should you find just one brokerage to do everything on, and which is the best? And number two is about Robinhood, which I have, but someone told me that they don't account for leap years. So on the leap day, they don't trade on that day because their system wasn't coded for that, like their app wasn't coded for that. So is there like a recommended brokerage that's the best, if anybody would know?
All right. The first question, is there an advantage or disadvantage of having multiple brokerage firms? There's really no advantage or disadvantage to having multiple brokerage firms, but what is important is you must know what your portfolio of stocks are. And the reason I say that is this: your investment advisor might be a person that, just generally like stocks in the financial industry, or someone that likes real estate stocks, or someone that likes energy stocks, so your portfolio of stocks is the most important thing. Make sure as much as possible that you have a diversified portfolio of stocks or whatever your interest is. You know, if you're a person that likes, you know, stocks in the oil and gas industry, then that's fine, but make sure you hedge it with stocks in another, you know, in another sector that you feel is relatively safe. Sometimes you're able to, you know, talk to your advisors and tell them, you know, these are the stocks you want in your portfolio. Sometimes they just generally choose their portfolio for you. So imagine if I come to you for advice and you generally like real estate. You're going to advise anybody that comes to you for advice on real estate, right? So it's always good for you to know what stocks you like. And if you don't, you know, just generally have a diversified portfolio. That's the first one. And then the second question, sorry, help me out with that again.
So it's about Robinhood, which is the app that a lot of
yes. So
yeah,
Robinhood.
and there was like 2 major outages that they've had. I think one was on leap day this year because their system didn't code for leap years. And so on that day, I think there was no trading going on for anybody who had an account with them.
Yeah, so regarding that, it depends on individuals. You know, if you're an active trader, you might want to account for every day counts for you, you know. But if you're not, and you know, they just manage your portfolio for you and you're satisfied with your returns, then it really doesn't matter. But you know, a day might come where if they don't put it in their disclosure that they don't trade on leap years, it could be a day that stocks go down and everybody might decide to give a class action to Robinhood and say, well, you didn't trade on this day and now we lost money when we should be making money. You know, and then everybody decides to sue Robinhood and then Robinhood goes into bankruptcy because of that. So it must be in their disclosure and you must be aware, and if you're okay with it, then that's fine. I think Femi can help out with the rest.
Femi, do you have any add-ons to that?
I think he has said most of the things that need to be said.
Okay.
Having a diversified portfolio, having different brokers is not a problem. You just have to make sure that you're being treated right. Right now, most of the brokers, I don't know if all, but most of the brokers are not charging any commissions or fees for trade. So if you have an account that is charging you commissions or fees for any trade, you might want to get out of that because we have a whole bunch of accounts. All the stocks that I just showed you, the 2 stocks that I just bought, I didn't pay a single dime on commissions or fees or anything. Everything was 100% free. So if you have an account with any broker and you're just wasting your money. We have several great accounts that won't charge you a penny for having an account with them. We have, you know, so that is the only thing. You just need to be looking out for services right now. They are all competing against each other. There are several of them out there. Robinhood has made them all discounted out. So there are several of them. I just woke up one morning. I just did a little research and which one should I choose? A lot of people use Robinhood. I don't want to get into Robinhood. I'm gonna just use something else. Ameritrade is strong too. I just decided to pick that. There are several of them out there that you can pick, and if you have different one, it's okay. But you just have to look at how are you being treated. Just with bank, people are paying monthly fees and annual fees on their accounts. Some people have accounts that are actually paying them interest on the money they have. So it depends on what do you prefer. You know, I used to have a bank account that used to charge me annual fee or annual whatever. They just name it whatever they name it and they charge. But now I have an account that actually pays me interest every month on whatever balance I have on my accounts, and they don't charge me any fees whatsoever. So it all depends on what is best for you, what you think is best for you, for your portfolio, and then you go from there.
Thank you, Femi. Really appreciate it. I think we're going to be taking these this last one because I think we're like just about 5 minutes past our time. And this one asks, it said, oh yeah, it said, how does Brafemi measure growth? That what is metric?
I have a question.
Okay.
I think, Bro Yemi, I will need to hear that question again, but before that, I think you should let people, if people are willing to stay, maybe we can let them ask their questions.
Okay.
Because if we decide to end at the time we are going to end, we are going to dissatisfy a lot of people. Okay. What was the question again?
The question states, how does Brafemi measure growth, and what is metrics? I mean, what is metrics? Metric.
Yeah, I understand. Well, the thing I look at is I want to see my goal, my relationship with any company is I'm an investor. So the first thing I look at is how has this company treats investors, their investors, their clients. So that is my main thing. So I go back to like 10 years and see how they have treated their investors, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to be to them. I might not be a customer, but I'm going to be an investor. I'm putting my money in their company. So I look at how have they paid their investors in the past 5-10 years? How consistently have they paid their investors? Have they missed any payments? Have they grown with those dividend rate? So because at the end of the day, we all have financial statements that we have to look at and all that. At the end of the day, all these things can be manipulated. We have companies that we're having great numbers before this pandemic. Now they are filing for bankruptcy. You wonder what happened to all the money they said they had. You understand what I mean? So numbers can easily be manipulated. So all I look for majorly is I want to see that the company has been around for a while. I want to see that the company has essential services or is doing something that will stand the test of time. Then I want to see that they are taking care of their investors, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to be, an investor. So I want to see that is happening. Once I look at those three metrics, I'm able to see and determine that, okay, what's the price of this stock compared to their dividend rate? Because if a stock is so expensive and their dividend rate is so little, the question is, when am I going to get my returns back and all that? So those are the things I look at: the price, I look at how they have treated investors, and I look at their past performances when it comes to dividends, when it comes to financials. I look at how much they have in cash, their cash flow. So those are important to me.
Okay. And Mom, you said you wanted to ask a question. Oh,
I have a question, SMI.
Oh, go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, this is for Ladi, Mr. Ladi. And he talks about credit cards. And so many people, not everybody has stayed long enough in this country, maybe with credit card companies, to build enough credit history. And we know that these things are important when you want to buy a house or do some major investment. He talked about paying off and paying down. There is so much talk about building credit or raising your credit score. It's not just paying your bills on time. I mean, paying the credit card on time. Many people take pride in paying it off. So I would like to know what the major things are that will help somebody to raise one's credit score. If it's not paying credit card on time, I don't know the difference it makes paying off and paying down. I remember he said that. So if he could tell me what the key factors are in raising one's credit score, I'd be very grateful.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. So one major factor, there's no magic stick in raising your credit score. But one major thing is your utilization of your credit card. So when I say utilization, say for example, you have you start with a $500 credit card. Okay, you might decide that, okay, I go to Walmart every pay period or every time, and because I have $500, hey, people say, hey, don't spend more than 58% of it. So you spend about $250, you go to Walmart, at the end of the month, you pay down your $250. But you're only using 50% of your credit card. The credit company and all the credit bureau reports. Your credit company reports your credit to the 3 credit bureau companies every month. Okay, they're going to look at it that you are only spending $250 out of $500. Why should I increase your limit when you do not spend more than $250? I have no justification for increasing your limit because you've told me that all you need every month is $250. So they're not going to increase your limit. But think about it, and for most people on the line that have used their credit card, by the time you use up to $450 every month, even though you pay down that $450 every month when you use it, the chances are up to 90-something% that your credit card company are going to increase your limit, say probably to $750, because they've seen that you need more than $450, right? And you've shown that you are able to use $500 every month. Now, because you've shown that you're good in using your credit, they've increased your limit. As your limit increases, your credit score also increases because you're showing that I can use more money wisely. And that's how your credit score keeps increasing. The more money you're able to spend monthly and you're able to utilize it wisely by paying it down, paying it off, and also once all that is done, they report, like I said, they report every month to the credit bureau companies. The credit bureau companies then adjust their score based on your wise utilization of the funds the credit card company is giving you. That's one way of increasing your credit score. The other ways, there are multiple ways. One of the other ways is, like I said earlier, your debt to income ratio. If you have enough income, for example, you find out that when the credit card company is about to increase your credit limit, maybe after a year, they can ask you, how much do you earn now? When you started, you were earning, let's say you were earning 60,000, 70,000, right? After a year, they might ask you, how much are you earning now? If you put in any amount greater than what you put in before, the chances are also that your income has increased. That means that you're a more responsible person at whatever job you had. You've shown that it's not just about credit, it's more about your growth in whatever you're doing. Your debt to income ratio, your income has increased, but your income has increased, but your debt level is still low. So now the company looks at it that, oh, your income has increased. Oh, the chances are that, well, expenses are most likely going to increase, right? So they increase your credit limit as well. Because you find out that as most people, whether we like it or not, as their income increases, expenses don't stay the same. Expenses increase as well. So since you've shown earlier on that you're able to utilize your credit wisely, you can use your whole $500 that they gave you and you paid off, that's not a problem. Now they've increased you and they keep on increasing your limit gradually like that. So also the company reports to the credit bureau companies, and then they too adjust the scores, and it goes higher and higher and higher like that.
Okay, thank you, Ladi.
Yeah.
I mean, there is another question from Omobai Sheung.
Yes. So this is for anyone. I was wondering, what are some books or resources that you recommend for beginners who maybe want to learn about stocks and trading, especially for students who may not have a stable source of income?
That's for Brafemi.
Well, there are several of them out there that you can. I don't have. I want to be careful what I give out to people on a platform like this. So if you need those kind of message, I can look at the best set for you. I just don't want to run. But there are several books out there. There are even apps that you can use that can actually teach you trade stocks, beginners. In fact, if you go to the library, I went to the library, want to see a lot of books on investing, stocks, and all that for beginners. So they're just going to the library alone, you can get enough and several resources. Actually, even if you don't have any resources, if you go to broker's account, broker's website, all of them have educational resources for beginners on how to start learning how to trade stocks and all that. Just any broker's website, most of them have it. They have those resources right there that can actually show you step by step on how to invest. But you have to know one thing that you have to pay attention to is that we're in a world that is changing constantly. So information that you get 5 years ago might need to be adjusted or remixed a little bit for you to use them. So you cannot be working on information, even if this information be outdated by today. So regardless of where you get your information for, whatever book you read, you still have to make sure that you talk to somebody before making any critical decision on investments or trades. So, but there are several books out there, there are several apps out there that can actually show you. Going to the library alone, talking to the librarian over there and asking them, where is the investment section of books? They will just direct you right there, and you'll be surprised how many books that are there for you to read. So, but if you want specifics on the books, as I said, I want to be very careful how I give specifics generally. If you want specifics on the books, you can always try to reach out to me or Brother Ladi, and we can get you those specifics.
Thank you, Brother Femi. Does anybody have any question? We're about to wrap up now.
Yes.
I had a quick. Sorry.
Pastor, go ahead, sir.
We want to ask if Femi can have a training for these dollar stocks. Maybe just like a 1 hour training for people who are interested. I think that would be quite helpful. How do you do your research and things like that, so that we can be able to do 10 like you have said, maybe 10-10, Operation 10-10.
Well, I don't know why the number since because when I opened that account, I just opened the account with the name Nature 2020 because I was just randomly opening up the account. I just had some change in my bank, and I was like, I'm not just going to leave this money here just to be reading because I know they're not going to pay me anything. So I decided that 10, 100, those. I'm somebody that I'm specific on numbers. I don't like doing 5 or 3 or 2. Can we do 10? Can we do 100? Can we do 1,000? So that's how I go in how I pick, in how I make decisions. Do 10. So it's easy for me to calculate. Even when I'm making choices on the price, I don't do 123. Let me buy it at 10.22. I have to buy it at 10.25 or 10.50 or that, so that I can actually do the math easily like that. So that's why I said I'm going to buy 10 stocks, 100 shares each. and make sure that they are below a certain price. So we can actually do a class on that. We can all sit down and look at those. And if anybody has questions, then I think Brother Yemi can speak to the team on how to get that class set up.
Sure. Well, we'll work on that. And I have another question here from another gentleman. He said, "Are there any benefits in an index universal life insurance policy?" Let me repeat it again. Are there any benefits in an index universal life insurance policy? I think, is that for Ladi?
Ladi.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that.
Okay.
That will be specific for your.
I'll probably just put that in the parking lot, and if we get an answer for that, we'll swing back to the gentleman. I have his name actually. Is there any other question? We're about to wrap it up now.
I can help a little bit with the IUL.
Okay.
There are different types of life insurance packages, policies, starting from term life to IUL. So there is the common ones are term life, then whole life, up to IUL, which is probably a little more expensive than the rest. So since he wants only the IUL, I can talk briefly on that. The difference between this and the others, IUL takes you to when the person is 120 years, but you can still decide to do 105. People live up to that at this time, while term life, for example, stops at 30 years. And then IUL has benefits, tax advantages. You don't have to pay tax to withdraw from your cash value. It has a cash value, which term life does not have. And IUL has living benefits. As long, excuse me, even while you're alive, depending on the situation, whether somebody is diagnosed with terminal illness, chronic illness, whatever it is, you can be advanced 80% of the death benefit to take care of the person when the person is alive. A small boy was diagnosed with terminal, with cancer. The doctors gave him 6 months to live. They paid the parents $400,000, depending on their investment, the net death benefit, 400. And a doctor in the same hospital advised them to go to India, and there the boy had surgery and is alive, and they pocketed the 400,000. So there are many, many differences between these. But IUL, if you do it when you're young and you have small monthly premium, that monthly premium stays with you till you're 120 years. It never changes. Plus, the cash benefit is a lot too. So there are so many things about that.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Really appreciate that. This is very informative. And for me personally, I've really learned a lot today, and I am so glad I actually made it here. And just to let you know, again, this is actually, this seminar was actually created and was brought to you guys by HOF Leadership and Empowerment Team. And our vision and goals, as I said earlier, is to raise leaders in our sort of faith, and leaders that will impact the church, that will impact our nation, impact our city, our state, and our country as a whole. And this is not going to be the end of it. We'll be bringing more of this talk show to everyone, and also, of course, to Gap and the entire church. And all we just want to request from you we need, we're going to be sending our survey to understand what actually concerns or matters to you most, what you really want to know, or what information you really want out there. And you can leave that to us. We will definitely scout for it and bring it to your doorstep. But the most important thing is we really want to know what actually concerns you. We already have our topics and what we already have. I mean, we have multiple talks that we have lined up, and we'll be bringing it as it goes. And hopefully, maybe by the time we get back to church fully, we will all be coming together to do this. We really appreciate you. We thank you for doing this with us today. I have enjoyed myself, and I'm sure somebody have gotten something out of this, and it's going to change. It's going to begin to change lives, and we will start implementing all that we've heard. I want to say a big thank you to our speakers, Brafemi and Ladi. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. We really appreciate the fact that you actually share your big knowledge. And we're going to be wrapping up right now, and we would like Pastor is here, and we're so honored to help us with the closing prayers, sir. Pastor, sir.
Heavenly Father, we honor you so much, and we thank as your children and as brothers, sisters, we're able to share and tap into our knowledge, our understanding of the financial system. And we are grateful, Lord, that we have had all this information tonight. We pray for a heart and the power of the Holy Spirit to be able to pick and do that which will be a blessing to us individually, those that will be a blessing even to the work of God and the church of God in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
For all our speakers, we ask for more knowledge, we ask for more grace, and we ask for increase in their businesses and their career. Amen. Lord, bless our children tonight, and Lord, let it be with every home. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. 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 Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pastor. We really appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. And the meeting has ended.
Can we have recording?
Actually, it's being recorded, and we will reach out to the media and see how we can share that with you.
Yeah, by email. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.